So many people that we meet are just too nervous, and I've noticed there's this camp of anti-AI.
I also fed to that prompt all of the previous emails that I've produced manually. So it really understands where is my tone of voice, and it doesn't sound like it's the AI doing it.
AI has come and has replaced the manual tasks, and it's replaced a lot of the heavy lifting. But it's created a new task for us, and that's creating creative prompts.
This is the Giraffes Don't Eat Steak podcast.
The podcast for curious marketers who zig when others zag.
This week we dig into AI and sales, turning call transcripts into strategy, bespoke automations, and making prompts that actually work.
Hello, Alex.
Hey, Erica, how are you doing?
I am good. I'm so excited. We have Mickael back with us today. Hey, Mickael.
Hello, guys. How are you? Good to be here. Good to be back.
Round two. Ding, ding, ding.
I know.
So, Mickael, you are our first repeat guest. We haven't done a repeat guest before, so you're our first repeat guest. But we had so much fun the last time talking about sales versus marketing and how that relates.
Yes.
And it just felt like the right thing to do to bring you back again. And well, we love talking to you anyway, so that's also good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I guess, if you were to look at the previous video, I had a trim because I remember my beard was very, very big last time. So, I had a barber appointment at some point in the middle. And it was a really cool call. I guess there's so much more we can talk about today. So, yeah, very excited for today.
Oh, fabulous. So the big topic, Mickael, that's on everyone's mind is AI. Is it going to steal our jobs?
Yes, but
so you're using AI a lot in your current role. Do you want to talk to us about what you're doing currently and how that fits in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I recently joined AdManage.ai. So we're helping media buyers just save lots of hours on a weekly and monthly basis. And basically, I became to realize that I was making lots of redundant tasks that basically was taking most of my days, which just sucked because this is the part that, first of all, bring the least ROI in your workflow, and second of all, that it's just like monkey work, so you don't really need to, you shouldn't be spending all this time doing it. And then basically it goes from sending a reminder to someone a minute before the meeting that they have to show up, because most of the time they don't. Or doing automation to send email breakdown of the conversation you've had on the call. So basically you don't have to write it. And if you have the right prompt, an automation process, basically you can just like make it super easy. For people that don't show up, and basically use lead information to make sure that the people can just know that at least they didn't show up and tell them why. That's a shame, and we should rebook a meeting. There's like plenty of cases where basically I'm probably saving about 10 to 15 hours a week in just like having these workflows on. Yeah.
Awesome. Alex, you use AI a lot as well recently, right? You've also been quite excited. But how is this different just from the normal automations that were available in HubSpot or any of the other tools we used?
Well, from my perspective, it's just hyper personalized. And when you have a lot of automation tools and things that you used in HubSpot, it's not learning. It's not getting any better with any additional prompts that you're giving it. And it's stuck to a regime that it's been taught by someone else. But if I have another flow that I prefer, something that's more tailored to the specific task I'm doing, then I can tailor it as such, and it's a lot more useful and a lot more agile that way. And also you can create automations with things that don't already have automation. So with HubSpot, you were limited to the toolbox. With AI, you're limited to what you're thinking of how you can create an optimization.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can really relate on there is no limit to it. I think it's just like how creative you are, and then basically it's, if you know how to use they, you basically have like limitless options in whatever you want to automate or to create as well. Completely agree with that.
Yeah, and especially when I guess with in your role now with the company that you're working with now, AdManage.ai, Mickael, there's it, previously, and even with some kind of pre-built templates, there's just a huge amount of manual labor. And so we're not just talking about like sending an email here and there. It's like the monotonous work that's really, really, it takes a lot of time and it's error prone because it's so monotonous, like copying, pasting, an ad here, just kind of repurposing it for Facebook to TikTok, etc., etc.
Yes.
There's so much room for error and so much room for the human brain to switch off.
I can give you an example, for example. So basically, we record all the demos and all the calls with Fathom. So it's a great tool to just like record every call. And basically we have an API, an automation with Make that basically we do a breakdown of whatever conversation we've had, and then built it into an email and send it straight away to the prospect. But what I'm doing to help basically that AI to break it down is two things. The first one is I always structure my calls the same way. So there is no surprises in whatever information is going to be getting. So it's always, how did you hear about us? What is your current workflow? And then doing the demo and going to commercials and the next steps. And basically, I built a prompt in the GPT project that basically initially I just needed to copy paste that transcript into that prompt, and it would just give you exactly what I wanted it to say on the email with what are your current challenges, what value do we add, kind of like the breakdown of what we want to do together, the next steps, all the folders or files I want to share with them as extra documentation. And now it just does it automatically. And I can also add, have a bit of a fun tone, for example, because this is who I am. So basically, I also fed to that prompt all of the previous emails that I've produced manually. So it really understands where is my tone of voice, and it doesn't sound like it's the AI doing it. And make sure to add and make sure that there is no M dashes in there as well. Otherwise, you're going to have them everywhere, and it's definitely going to look like AI.
And there's something also you just brought up talking about prompts. So, AI has come and has replaced the manual tasks, and it's replaced a lot of the heavy lifting. But it's created a new task for us, and that's creating creative prompts. And
Yes.
I think within your prompts that's the skill in getting the AI to work. You can kind of like give the prompt, you can give the AI a small sentence, do this, and it will do it pretty well. But to make it sound authentic, like you, not like everybody else, and do exactly what you want every single time as well, without kind of steering away and being creative itself and creating kind of alternatives. The creativity is in the prompt. And so what like do you see that, or do you see?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's like, first of all, you have to be ready to do lots of back and forth with your AI, because it's never going to be perfect on the first one. And I'm using ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, for example. And if I want to build a specific prompt, I'm working with the AI to help me build the best possible prompt, basically. And then what I will do is I will just say, this is the context, this is what I want, this is the layout, and then it's going to give me a V1. And then I'll test it in my project, I'll paste my transcript, see how it goes. And then I'll go back into that initial conversation with the prompt and say, oh, this wasn't quite right, this needs to be like this. And basically, I probably spend like, I don't know, probably like 2 hours just like doing back and forth. But at the end, it was like saving me 5 or 6 hours a week of having to go into, because before there was even no transcripts, there was like handwritten notes. Then you had to just like do the same thing, and it was just taking forever. And now, like before the automation, it was basically taking me 10-15 minutes to just like copy the transcript, paste it into ChatGPT, get the text and paste it into an email and sending the email, and which is great. But now I just have it done completely automatically, and then I don't have to worry about this. And the reason I left a time between the doing the copy paste from ChatGPT project to sending the email is because there was still a few things that I wasn't quite happy about. So basically, I had these about 30, 40 emails before being like, right now, this is exactly what I want. And it might not be 100% perfect, but it's still better in the grand scheme of things, of like time that I save compared to hours that I'd be wasting just doing it manually.
Absolutely.
Fabulous. You briefly introduced AdManage where you work now, but that's also about time saving. Do you want to talk to us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with Sed and Raf, which we all met at MVF. Well, technically they've met before because they're brothers, but we both worked there, and so we joined MVF at very early stages, and then MVF became like 600 people and made lots of growth, and they were one of the people that had a big impact on the performance marketing there. And then they did their own performance marketing experience in lots of different companies, heading a performance marketing team, until they went to the bottleneck of having to manually launch ads, which is a real pain if you ever launch ad on Meta. And basically, Cedric was working at Photoroom, which is like this big French app. And they were launching about 200 to 300 ads manually a week, which is just madness. And basically, he basically said that either he had to find a solution or quit his job. It turns out he's done both, and basically AdManage was born. And now we're working with over 200 brands. We work with Canva, work with Bolt, work with Wise, working with Perplexity, and work with Apps Agency and other brands. And basically, we can help brands save hundreds of hours a month launching ads in less than a minute, whether it's 1 or 100 on both TikTok and Meta. So the exactly same thing that we're talking about today is that there are some redundant tasks that are absolutely worthless and very low in terms of ROI in your workflow. And we're just trying to make sure that it's just get out of the way so you can focus on data, performance, scaling, because people that save the 100 hours a month also can times 10 the number of ads they can launch as well. So that's what we're trying to achieve there. And we, super focused into the products, and very plug and play product. So thank you for letting me do a little plug there. I really appreciate that.
Awesome. But for our audience who isn't running hundreds and hundreds of ads, why not just do it manually? Like, what's the purpose of running multiple ads?
Yeah, well, the first thing is about testing, right? So what you want to make sure is that you have enough ads, even though you're kind of targeting the same audience. Like, we all know that a copy can make a difference on your ad. We all know that a creative can make a difference. And then it's like, what type of format? Is that UGC? Is that static? Is that video? There's lots of different formats that are going to work or not work with different audiences. And basically, the brands that are performing the best and are growing the fastest are the ones that test the most ads, basically. And what we enable them to do is just to launch more ad at scale, and then to kind of easily see with our analytic tools, for example, what is working, what is not working, and what you should be focusing on, basically. And if you're launching 2 ads a week and then you wait a week to see what the results are, you're just very far away from being able to say, I think I cracked it. However, if you launch multiple ads a day or a week, whether you do it manually or with AdManage.ai, like, it doesn't really matter. You're definitely on the path of cracking it at some point. So volume is actually like the one thing that's going to help you scale. Thank you.
Absolutely. It sounds like what we used to do in a spreadsheet, Alex.
Yeah.
In the good old pre-AI days, right? It was all spreadsheet based, putting all your different versions into a spreadsheet and then waiting for the results to come and then putting the results in. But one had better clicks and other had better conversions. So you couldn't just take one number. You had to look right through to see all of it. How many people are distracted by views, for example, but something with high views that doesn't convert is actually useless, right? So that sounds like a good use of AI, right? To take what I feel like took us weeks, Alex, of our lives, if we have to add it all up.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like launching an ad on Meta takes about 10 to 20 minutes. Usually brands will like launch about 10 a day, or like 10 a week, or 100 a day, 100 a week. Like if you were to do a batch of 50, that's like 8 hours, like a whole day worth of just like clicking on the same button repetitively and learning nothing, and just like technically wasting lots of time. So yeah, that's what we try to get rid of. It's just like that
Yeah,
painful
and
day.
it frees you up to focus on the offer, right? Because I mean that's the most important part. Everything else is just time wasted almost, because you're not necessarily adding any value to your offer or anything to the customer. You're just doing something mechanical. You're just sticking the poster on the wall, You're not actually creating the offer. So
No.
that just frees up your mind to be a bit more creative, I guess, and focus on what matters.
What I loved about your story is that when you joined the company, you actually physically did run manual meta ads so that you could feel the pain and really share with the customer what the true joy is of doing it through your platform, right?
Exactly, it's so funny. So the deal that I've had with Seth and Raf was basically, so I come from performance marketing. I've been doing this like for like 15, 10 years, but I always was on the other side. I was on the commercial, on the growth side. And basically the whole deal that we had was, if I was to join AdManage, which was all about a joke, but it was so smart basically. Was that I had to run my own ads. And it happened that we had a webinar like a few weeks back, and basically I had to work towards trying to run ads to promote that webinar that we've had. And yeah, first time ever in Facebook Manager, it was an absolutely nightmare. I hated it. It was the greatest way to just like to learn about whatever product you're doing, right? You need to just like see the friction, see the pain, see the frustration, to really like realize, okay, fine, that actually makes so much sense to not have to do it manually. And also to learn about how to run campaign, like different type of campaign that you have, like all the things that you can do on the platform, which is absolutely amazing. But it's just that for creating an ad set or creating a campaign, that's absolutely fine. But to do repetitive tasks, there is absolutely no point using it. And actually the second thing I've learned is that well, I kind of knew it, but I discovered it. It's so Seth and Raf are both French Canadian. And the funny thing is that I've known these guys for about 7, 8 years, and I've never heard them speak French, which is so funny. And I had to have like some demo with some French guys to actually get them to come and assist me on some things, to actually hear them speaking French, which I think is like the weirdest thing. Is like I've known this guy for nearly a decade.
Thought maybe they were catfishing you.
Yeah, well, clearly but they were not, because their French is absolutely impeccable. But it was just like really funny to just find that out. It's quite a funny story.
That's funny. So are you seeing it? So I guess you've got I mean, because everything's automated and you've got a lot of campaigns running through the platform. Do you see any kind of interesting trends or anything that come out of the data that you see from users?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what we see is that, first of all, like just using AdManage, like they basically times 10 the volume that they used to do in terms of launch, which is like, so it's always been a capacity problem. It's never been like a willingness issue about I don't want to launch more ads. It's just like I don't have the capacity to do it. And then there is also so we have a section on AdManage which gets you to see all the comments in one place. And that's something that you can't really do on Meta. Like you have to go into each ad and just find the comments. And so we grouped everything into the same place. And we also added a button which is like export as a CSV, which is technically like the least exciting button, but it's just absolutely amazing. I'll tell you why. So basically, what you can do is for ideation. So you can download all of your comments, throw it to an LLM, and ask it, what are the 5 topics that people are mentioning in my ads, and give me 5 headlines based on the wording and the way people talk about that pain or talk about that USP, and create 5 templates with copy and headlines basically. And so the cool thing is that people don't realize how much of a gold mine your comments are. and how much difficult it is as well. Because when you ask people, do you look at the comments, which I ask to everybody that I do a demo where I talk about AdManage, and they say, yes, but I don't have the time, I can't be bothered. It's just like, that's not my priority. But basically, I'll give you an example of one of the cosmetic brand we work with. So they have a product which is sun cream. And they started realizing that people started mentioning that a sun cream stinks. And in the comments, so instead of doing any bad PR or we've heard these stories, what they actually did is they did a React video that they just advertised and put on ads in Meta, asking people to react to the smell of the sun cream. Everybody loved it, and everybody in the comment went nuts, and basically had lots of reaction, and that blew up. And basically that ad was performing so well that became the unicorn ad. It's just like that ad is still live right now. And if it wasn't for that boring export button, they just never found out about that specific topic. So it's just like, if there is anything that you should be considering, and it's for everything in life in general, it's just like feedback. Like, what are people saying about my product? What people are saying about, me as a manager or as a +1 or whatever. Like, it's just like super important to just like read whatever is accessible. And yeah, we can enable that. But you talk about trends, it's more about hidden things. And yeah, so we can. So this is one of the few that we see for sure.
I love that.
Love that, yeah. And that's again also the power of AI. It is combining a huge amount of data to create like an average, right? But and something that appeals to everybody. And especially and then if you think about that just in other businesses like sales calls and things like that, instead of going through your sales calls one by one and trying to figure out what people are saying, again, just learn by recording all of those calls and just putting it into one tool straight away, grabbing the common theme throughout all of those calls, and either using that to improve your sales pitching or feeding it back into your marketing.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that. That's a brilliant story, by the way. The one about the comments, I love that. That's
yeah, it's so funny.
Like market research on steroids.
Exactly, and it's so easy to do as well. Like it's nobody, you don't require an engineering degree or a PhD. We're talking about copy paste basically, so it's really not complicated. And there is so many examples like this. And the one thing so there is Fathom, which is not an advertisement or not sponsored by them, but basically it's a recording tool that is absolutely awesome, and it just released a new feature, and basically it's AI search. So it's exactly this. So now I can go into, I think we've done since the beginning of the year probably about 700 to 800 demos at AdManage. We have so much data, right? So if I want to look at why do people love AdManage, or what is the one thing that makes people change platform from X to AdManage, basically I have all the information available as well. So I wrote, for example, some of the competitors' name that we have, and on Fathom, and basically dragged every single conversation that we ever had and all the negative things that people were saying about our competitors. And basically now I use that as inspo for my LinkedIn post. I use that as inspo as if you're going through this, but also the positive of the people that are telling me, oh, AdManage is awesome because X, Y, Z. And basically, I can also use this because this is what people express and that's what they say, and that's what we can help them basically. And so we managed to just like identify all these things and just like use it for a good purpose. Then, it's also a great way to use AI as well. So it's just like the possibilities, as you said earlier on, is just like limitless. Just for you to know like what is triggering, and most of the time it's just frustration that is just telling you, what if I could do it simpler? And then, just AI just helps you do that, basically. How you guys are using AI? Well, I'd love to hear that. What are you guys' few examples that you have?
Well, we basically building AI to replicate the way we think. So really what we do is we always do a deep dive into a customer and try and really understand everything about their business and understand their customer, their landscape, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. and build offers and acquisition strategies for them. And that takes a lot of time because it takes a lot of research, it takes a lot of writing and amendments and going back and forth and and it takes a lot of time. And to really think, and it's tiring doing lots and lots and lots and lots because it's brain power that you're using all the time.
Yeah.
So we're basically just creating a virtual brain, I guess. So we're just sort of creating the frameworks that we use, and creating sort of a framework of the input that we need to put in it to make sure that it responds well to the brain that we have in there. So it creates the output that we would do that would, let's say we have one client that would normally, for one project, would normally take us like nearly a month. We can do it in a few days,
Yeah. So very similar to your initial summary of the meeting, get it into the right format. What do you want it to look like? So that's Alex is the brainchild behind building that. But you'll laugh at this. We also tried seeing what part of the podcast we could move into AI, and we
Of
had
course.
we had AI Erica and AI Alex, and I have to admit, AI Alex sounded pretty okay. I mean, you could still hear it a little bit, but AI Erica Alex's comment was sounds more South African than real Erica. But actually, it was Australian. It was an Australian twang, not South African at all. So yeah, we're
That's
playing
hilarious.
with different things. I mean, it's so fun. I think last year we wrote a song for our business with AI. That was pretty cool.
Anthem. You got
Yeah,
yourself an anthem. That's cool.
we did.
Yeah.
We were playing with music. So yeah, I think there's serious business, absolutely. So looking at what parts of your business you can use it for to automate and get better. And then there's fun, right? There's fun ways you can play around with it and just see what sparks and what lands and what you want to do with. So I think my key message is not to be afraid. I think so many people that we meet are just too nervous. And I've noticed there's this camp of anti-AI. I don't know if you've come across them. They're just like, oh no, AI is
Yeah.
terrible. Um, but I think it's fear, right? There's an underlying fear
Yeah.
about
100%.
getting into it. It's going to steal our data. It's it's there's no privacy. These are the kind of negatives that are shared quite regularly.
I
I
think,
mean, it's,
yeah, it's a few things. It's like, first of all, it's misunderstanding. I think people don't understand, and they're just they draw conclusion very easily based on absolutely nothing. And most of people that are against AI probably haven't really gave it a real chance. And but I know for sure that like my mom, for example, that she absolutely think that this is the end of the world right now. This is it. But at the same time, she's never opened ChatGPT, and she probably said ChatGTP as well. So she doesn't really know much about it. But on the other hand, if you really give it a chance and you try to be smart about like what you can actually make use of, um, and and I think, when people talk about taking our data or whatever, I mean, hello, you're using Google, Facebook, WhatsApp. Like, your data is already everywhere, mate. So it makes absolutely no difference. I'm not saying like I'm okay with it. I'm saying it's already in place. So
Yeah, it's happening.
if this is your reason, you just have to go back to writing letters to people because there is no other way. So yeah, I think just give it a chance.
I think it's just it's really like we said, the common fear is that it's going to take your job. I think it will take your job if you let it take your job, if that makes sense. But if you embrace it as a productivity tool, and improve upon what you're currently outputting at the moment, because you can do more and do more of what you're doing well, and you can improve on what you're doing well because you're being freed up of the manual task and you're being given extra time to be creative. So I think if you kind of think about it that way, it has a completely different spin. And like I was saying earlier, things like creating prompts, that becomes another human skill that we want. So there's really what you put, the quality of what comes out of AI is kind of what goes into it. So as long as you're being creative on the front end, then you've still got something to do, and you'll be better than the other person who's just trying to use AI by going, make my marketing plan. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
instead of giving it real information.
absolutely. And I think a few years back, I read that cool article that was basically talking about AI and talking about, any piece of technology that we've had that initially was scary. Like, and you could think about electricity. Like, electricity can feed a village of, like, electricity to just like build schools and give, like lots of the internet and access to education and all of this. But it can also, spark a nuclear bomb somewhere as well. So it's just like, in everything that is positive, you can always look at the negative. It's just like, how do you, it's like anybody. You could be a good person or have the best intention, or you should be evil. It's just the way it is. So it's just like, it's for you to just pick your side. And I also think that, the the job replacement situation is basically for you to take action now and just try to make sure that you embrace this before basically like the few resistants that don't want to just take the leap is just going to be all behind and be the one that basically will suffer from this, because essentially it will change everything at some point, and it already has started.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. Every new technology brings fear and haters. Like you said, electricity, they're probably all the candle makers in the world were like, no, 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 what's this electricity? No one's going to buy my candles anymore.
Absolutely. I mean, I used to work at beginning of my career. I used to work for like a printing company, and we were doing like catalogs and all of these things. And the business eventually, after I left, it was nothing to do with me leaving the company, but like the company just like stopped working because they never adapted to nothing. They were believing that. But they were complaining about internet is going to take over everything. That now you have the yellow pages online, you had like all of these things, which now is no longer yellow pages. It was replaced by Google, which is now replaced by ChatGPT. And then I can't remember. I watched an interview with the head of Instagram. Is basically saying that new technology are taking less and less time to be adopted and replaced, because initially it was like radio, and then it was TV, and then it was internet, and then it was phone, and then it was AI, and every time it's like went from 50 years to 40 to 20 to 10 to 5, and who knows what's going to happen in 2 years. So it's just like just learn and adapt, because the one that believed that TV was going to replace radio and still listening to the radio, and didn't adapt to TV, internet, and the rest of it, they're probably the one that were probably already dead because it was a long time ago. But if they're still alive, they're just they're just not really taking advantage of the cool things that are happening right now.
But in that, and I heard this quoted by someone this week actually, but it makes sense, right? Is understanding, and this example makes sense. Nobody buys a seat on a plane. That's not what you're buying. You're buying the destination. So whatever you're offering, if you understand the actual value that you're giving to the customer, whether you use AI to make that faster, better, more creative, there's still a need that you're fulfilling. And I think that's an important factor to just bear in mind is do you really understand the need that you're fulfilling in what you're doing? And are you saying that to the customer, right? I mean, no airline goes around selling seats. They're not saying, come and buy my seats. Oh, I've got seats today. They're selling the destination, right? That's what they're selling. That's
the experience.
That's what you're buying. You're buying the transport, the way to get from A to B in a quick way. Okay, then you've got first class and all those kind of things. But it's understanding that. And that's what I love about your example of where you yourself manually did the meta ads, because now you truly understand the value of what you're selling.
Absolutely.
When you say it to a client, you know it, you feel it, you know it, you've been through it yourself. And I think a lot of businesses, the pain of the client is theoretical. They haven't actually felt it. They don't really understand it.
Yeah.
And then wonder why there's a disconnect. But if
But
you
it's
if you
about
can really get there, I think that's what makes the difference.
it's about curiosity, right? It's just like, like how curious are you and how much you want to find out about what your pain points are, what needs to be improved. And like all companies I worked at, the team, which is all performance marketing, every team that I was the closest to was the CRO team. It was the tech team, it was the legal team, and it was the finance team. And basically, CRO team is because I want to know like how well the pages are performing and what new things you're doing to just make the page perform better, so I can brag to my clients and say, hey, we just released this. It's so cool. The tech team, because I want to know like how fast you're doing integration. I want to know like if there is any issue with integration, what are the things what the bottleneck that you're facing, how could I make your life easier onboarding new clients. The legal, what are the key new compliance things that are into place now? Is there anything that I need to check with my prospects before I just sign them on? And then finance. And it was only so they could like me so much that I could get better payment term. But at the end of the day, it was still a department that was key to make sure that everything was fine. But yeah, so basically just be curious, and to the point that one of the company I worked at, they actually gave to everybody like a grand budget for training and all of these things. And I told them that I didn't want the grant to be spent, but I just wanted to be sitting for 1 week, 2 days per department, and just learn whatever the hell they were doing there. And basically, that was my training paid by the company to learn more about the company. And that was my way of doing it, basically.
Love that. Very
Yeah.
cool. So you laugh at this. I belong to Toastmasters, and so I needed to do the role of Toastmaster of the day last week, which is like the MC of the meeting, right?
Nice.
And to make it interesting, so you're not just saying, okay, you speak now, you speak now. I had a theme, and I asked Claude to give me some quotes around the theme. So my theme was around collaboration. And it's basically collaboration is what happens at the top versus competition, which happens at the bottom, right? That's really something I believe in. And I asked for some quotes. And I said, give me 5 quotes so that I could throw this out throughout the meeting, just so that the theme is tied together. And it did. It gave me Nelson Mandela quotes. It gave me like good quotes. And then the last quote it gave me was from me.
Which is probably the best quote, I guess.
It gave an Erica Mickael quote. I just thought, oh wow, that is so cool. Like, have you made it when the AI quotes you?
This is so cool. This is so cool. And you know what? I bet that if I was to do the test now, your name will show up as well. So yeah, I'm sure it's global, right? Everybody has that.
It's just really weird. I think it's because I was doing a lot of work around collaboration at the time, so it had just picked that up. But yeah, it was like really cool to go, oh, that's me.
Well, I've never had that. So yeah.
Could you give the quote by saying, "Oh, and this one by a very wise lady once said," and they say, "Who's that? Who's that? Who's that?"
Yeah, that's it. It's Alex messing with your prompts. That's where it's done.
Yeah, it's Alex in the background.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it quoted a LinkedIn article that I did like 4 years ago. Like, how weird is that? Like, because I was about the topic, I went and found a LinkedIn article that I did 4 years ago, and that's what it was quoting. It's like really cool.
Ranking #1 on Claude. So that's
well,
that's
number
good.
5. Number 5.
Right,
I didn't beat Nelson Mandela. It's like it's coming one day.
One day. I love this. That's awesome. Yeah. That's cool. I mean, yeah. The conclusion for me is that AI is just like, it's like you can't complain about it. It's just there. It's a gift, and you just have like to embrace it and just make sure that whatever you're doing, you just use it at the best for the best intentions. And yeah, I think it's like everything. It's just like the fittest. The fittest is going to survive, right? So it's just like the one that adapts to whatever it is. It's most likely going to make it to the next stage. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I think everybody that is not yet doing this should give it a try.
Or they shouldn't, because then, just remove the competition from us.
Oh no, I'm all for more competition. I'm all for like raising the bar every time.
Yeah.
And just like, I think that's what I love the most. It's just like
That's
the
true.
tougher the competition, the best is.
Well, and the alternative is going to be the hyper-personalization in terms of face-to-face contact, right? That's the alternative, is having only direct one-to-one, but very high value custom experience kind of solutions, right? So that I think is the choice, is to do you go volume, right? Do you go volume, speed, efficiency, that route, versus no, the only way you can work with me is one-to-one, and it's, face-to-face, and you fly me to Malta for a week, and so yes, I'm up for that. If anyone wants to fly me to Malta for a week, I can make that happen without any AI.
Yeah, I'm going as well, just so you know.
But that is another good point, though, about AI, and we just always have to remember there's a human at the end of whatever we do.
Yeah.
So the fear of losing any kind of contact with humanity for me is a bit bizarre, because you're not selling to a bot. Do you know what I mean? You're selling to a person. So everything that we're doing is humanized, and at some point, even if you're not directly speaking to them face to face, you are speaking to them in one way or another.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But it's I think it's what people tend to forget about the AI thing. Is it's just think that AI is going to control everything. But I mean, maybe one day it'll be a sentient AI that's just going to, like puppet master us. But at the moment, it's not the case. As you're absolutely right. Like someone has to trigger something for the AI to just take action. So yeah, that's I completely agree.
Yeah.
So Mickael, if anyone wants to get hold of you to chat more about AI and the use, or to talk about AdManage and maybe get a demo of this awesome tool, how do they do that?
Well, they go on AdManage.ai, or they can go on my LinkedIn. I post almost every day, so they can learn more about how to just, make sure you can launch more ads fast, but also anything to do with trends or automation or growth or digital marketing in general. And that's it. That's the two channels that we recommend.
Oh, fantastic. It's such a pleasure to always to talk to you. It's been great fun.
Likewise.
What is your one takeaway you want to leave our audience with?
I think it's just be curious. Keep being curious. Don't rely on AI to give you the answer for everything. Like, go and check yourself the answers as well. Make sure that your brain is still activated, and make sure that AI automates the process, not your thoughts process. So yeah.
Love that. Alex, your biggest takeaway today?
No, it's very similar to what Mickael said. I would say think of AI as a productivity booster, to leave space for your brain to be creative.
Love
Nice.
it.
What about you, Erika?
I always stick to my norm, right? It's all about the person at the end. Is what is the problem you're solving? And even with AI, as you're inputting whatever prompt, just keep in your mind what is the problem you're solving.
True.
Because if whatever you're outputting is not solving that problem, then you're not doing the right prompt. So for me, there's still the person whose problem you solve that you need to keep front of mind all the time.
No, that's cool. I like that one. I like this one a lot. Sorry, Alex. I think I prefer Erika's one.
That's all good.
I don't need Alex anymore, Mickael. You can join me on the podcast going forward.
I'm like 10% of what Alex can deliver. So no, I'll leave that to the best.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. It's been fun as usual. Alex, I will see you again. And Mickael, we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
you
very
guys
much.
take care.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Giraffes Don't Eat Steak, where curious marketers zig when others zag. If you enjoyed the episode, share it with someone who loves great marketing conversations. And don't forget to follow, review, or drop us a note. We love hearing from fellow curious minds. And if your own marketing's feeling a bit tangled, check out our Marketing Power Hour. It's a focused one-to-one session designed to help you get clarity and momentum. Just go to themarketingdetectives.com and book your slot. Until next time, keep zigging.